everybody. It's time to make shift happen. Get ready to shift your perspective on life, people, and the world we live in. And here to help you do that are your shift chicks, Fran Holinda and Lisa A.
Hey, shifters. It's Fran Holinda.
And it's Lisa A.
And it's time to make shift happen.
Oh, that was a good one. Make shift happen.
I like it. We came in strong.
Well, as we always come.
As we always come. Well, let me just say this is Fran Holinda, not in Savannah, Georgia.
Yes,
I know. I'm so.
Was that fake news?
It was actually fake news. No, it was all of my intention, and I was telling you off air that I'm getting bombarded by Facebook with my last year's trip to Charleston, South Carolina, which is definitely one of my all-time favorite places. I'm putting it on my list. And it was just such a good trip this year. Yeah, we were excited to go this year for my birthday.
This is your birthday week.
This is my birthday month. Excuse me, Missy.
Oh, God.
And so far all we've had is crappy weather. But yes. Well, in a couple of weeks, we will be going down. I know you're so excited for me on this one to see Lionel Richie.
Yes, please take me with you.
I know. No, I'm sorry. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't do that. I can't do that for you. I know. I'm so sorry to disappoint you on that.
All
but
right. Maybe next time.
Every once in a while, you have to be a grown-up adult person and change your plans. So
oh, please.
I'm not going to pout. I'm not going to pout all night long. There you go. I'm not going to pout about it. There's nothing I can do about it. It is what it is, right? As they say.
Hey, it's something to do.
No, I mean about not going away. Like I was, I'm a little bit disappointed. But you know what? Savannah's not going anywhere. And
you guys are always doing something. You're always traveling. Take a break.
It's hard. It's difficult. And I, you know how much I love my babies, my animals. But it's not always easy. And I can't really board. Well, I could, but I don't want to. It's very expensive. More expensive to board them than it is to send me away. For God's sakes. And, with Harlow and everybody who's been listening to us for a while remembers that she was so very sick a couple of years ago. So she can't have any vaccinations. And so it's difficult to put her with other dogs. So, whatever. They all have clean teeth. What can I say?
Yeah, I always tell you, I will take Wesley.
Well, and I always say, take him. And you leave without him. I don't understand. We can try that again tonight if you like.
Oh, sure. Why not?
Do you remember that book, Lisa, The Ransom of Red Chief?
The Ransom of who?
I think it's Red Chief. Isn't that the story? The Ransom of Red Chief. Wasn't that the book? The title of the book? Basically where they kidnapped the little boy, and in the end, the ransomers, the kidnappers actually pay the parents.
Oh yeah.
To take I think we'd have that situation with Wesley. To be honest with you.
No problem.
You say that. You say that. No.
I'll tame that little puppy so fast.
Yeah.
I want him back.
Yeah. Tell it to somebody who believes you.
He doesn't really like me though. I always try to cuddle him and squeeze him, and he doesn't really like me.
He's just a weird little dog. He really is. Like I said, I love them to death. But anyway, so we have quite a bit. Our cards of notes are stacked. We have so many things to talk about this week. I don't even know where to start. Where should we start?
Well, I think we should just pay our respects and mention Luke Perry.
Yes. Okay.
Unfortunate. And the day that news broke when he had the massive stroke, I kind of knew right away it wasn't going to be good by a lot of the news reporting the whole day. And then when I saw Shannon Doherty being interviewed, and she said, "Don't make me cry," and right there you kind of knew, she said, I can't talk about it. I'm not allowed to talk about it. So right there was an indication that it wasn't good. Obviously, it was a massive stroke, and it wasn't good. But he was just a really cool, humble guy from Ohio that never forgot where he came from. I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you have all the interviews that have been playing.
Mm-hmm. And he was beloved for sure.
Yeah, he really was. And, I love that one remark he makes when he said, I was shoveling gravel yesterday and I can be doing it again tomorrow for all I know. Mm-hmm. That's a person who really appreciates, what life is given to him, and realizes it can be taken away at any time. And obviously his whole
and obviously it was. And you know what else I think is there's almost I don't know if the word is irony or not, but I saw that he was friendly with Charlie Sheen, and all of these different people, and some of these characters that run around Hollywood have had such issues with drug abuse, alcohol abuse, just living a lifestyle of nothing but decadence, if you will. And this guy seemed like he was pretty pure, and it just kind of sad. Not that anybody deserves it, don't get me wrong, but just I guess the one that you wouldn't necessarily expect after his health scare. He had a colorectal health scare at one point.
Right.
Changed his diet, really took control of his situation, and so it makes it even kind of more sad that he was.
Apparently he was a pretty healthy guy. Eating and working out and whatnot. He looked. He did look a little older than his
52
age,
years. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I don't know if that might just be the sun out in California or wherever. where do they film Riverdale now? I really don't even Canada, right?
I don't really know, actually, to tell you the truth. But I have not. I didn't even realize. I've heard about the show, to tell you the truth. I really wasn't paying any attention. I think I'm glad that a whole new bunch, I guess, I don't want to say the word generation. I don't know if it's really a generation, but a whole new bunch of people got to meet him, if you will, and got to see his talent. Because Beverly, and then the other thing that's kind of sad, right, is didn't they announce that they were going to do a reboot on the day I believe he had the stroke, right?
The same day, absolutely. That was kind of creepy,
Did you watch it? Did you watch the show?
Oh yes.
Who didn't? Yeah.
And Melrose Place. I loved Melrose Place too.
Yeah, I would follow it on and follow it off. I don't remember. I do know that he left. I know that he was on the show from 90 to 95, and then he left for a while and came back, and he was on again from 98 to 2000. I think maybe that's at the point that I stopped, because I don't remember the comeback, and I don't even remember why he left or how they had him leave. So long ago.
That's a good question. Yeah, I got to tell you, it was a time in my life when I don't know, a lot of things are blurry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, well, for me personally, right? I was in my child raising beginning years. My daughter was born in 90. My son was born in 92. So I was kind of busy.
Yeah, you were doing the diaper thing.
Yeah,
huh?
I was busy doing the diaper thing. Yes, this is true. 90210 was a far away place. But I
always love the name of that. I remember when it first came out, it was like the Beverly Hills zip code. It was so cool. It was a cool, way to name a show.
I thought it was great. Yeah, I thought it was a very good idea. Well, isn't that the thing that we're attracted? The first thing you're attracted by, is the name of a show, and then you go from there.
Yeah. Well, Fran, I think we should start 07039.
Oh, Livingston. I had to think for a second. Wait a minute, that sounds familiar. I think I know that zip code. I don't think it's that interesting.
Yeah, but all joking aside, we pay our respects to his family, his fiance, his everybody, and it's a big loss. Hollywood's going to miss him, and Kelly couldn't control herself today on Kelly and Ryan because of her husband Mark Consuelos is on Riverdale.
I didn't know that either.
And she said there wasn't a day that went by that she ever talked to him that he did not infuse his children into the conversation.
Aww.
She said he was a beloved father, so that made it sadder. She was crying.
Yeah, there's I think, again, like I said, I think it just seems to be that the ones that you would least expect and don't, not like I said, not that people deserve, but it just seems like the good ones. And definitely too young. 52 it's when you hear that number, you get frightened by it. You definitely get frightened by it. And speaking of young, let's just jump into this one for a little bit here. So we have, one of our, this is one of those situations. You and I have commented previously on Pete Davidson and some of the antics that have gone on with him and Ariana Grande when that happened, and then the breakup and the nasty comments back and forth, and then of course, his pseudo suicide kind of weird kind of clue that really got everybody shaken up because, we are so in tune. We've lost quite a few famous people to suicide in the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the first question, right, that everybody says or asks is, how did I not see it? Or what could I have done? And everybody feels so very helpless. So when somebody, puts on Facebook what appears to be a cry for help,
exactly.
Everybody was kind of running towards it. And then, I think I had told you that he was doing a show. He was coming around this area. He was at, we live in New Jersey, for those of our listeners who don't know exactly where we're broadcasting
Jersey.
from. Jersey. He was in New Brunswick in New Jersey he was with another comedian. I don't think it was John Mulaney. I can't think of who it was now. And I believe one of the performances he stopped. He canceled.
Really?
Whether it was State Theater or another local place, kind of abruptly. And so he's had some erratic behavior. Let's just say that. Okay.
Certainly, I would imagine so, yeah.
And now he's with supposedly, I mean, who is this gorgeous woman?
Well, it's, Kate Beckinsale, who's like one of my favorite actresses. I mean, she's absolutely stunning. She's a fabulous actress. She's 45 years old. She's like a class act, and I just don't understand the attraction. I mean, to each his own, whatever they say.
Yes.
But I can't imagine. I don't know if this is some kind of publicity stunt, if she's trying to get back at somebody. I don't know what it is, but the picture is gross. You see the tongues and everything.
Yeah, I just, what, and again, we are so far from prudish, but I'm not big on watching other people making out. It just doesn't do anything for me, especially because I just don't find him attractive. So it's gross to me. It's not really sexual or sensual in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but the way they caught that picture, it's just like full on.
And so it comes back to like, isn't she on a show also now? Isn't she doing something, or is she doing something?
She's coming out with something. See, here we go again with they're coming out with something new, because she was just on all the she was making her morning rounds, and I can't remember if it's a show on one of the streaming things or if it's a movie. But again, ironic that this is she's coming out with something new.
Yeah.
And here we have this this tongue kissing picture. Did you ever see the movie Laurel Canyon?
No.
Oh, really great movie. It's all a lot about the music industry, but it takes place out in Hollywood, out in Laurel Canyon, and she was in that. That was one of her first movies. Great movie. If you ever get a chance, music's good in it too.
I'm trying to figure out where I actually, obviously I know of her and I've seen her, and I'm just actually trying to figure out what movie it is that I've seen. Okay, so she's in currently The Widow, which is an Amazon Prime. And
that's what I said. I knew it was a streaming thing. Yeah.
And now that I see it, I realize that that's where I saw it, because I'm always looking for either Netflix these days or Amazon videos, because I really haven't been watching much regular television. So that's it. So she's got something coming out. I don't know. What do you even say? Good luck. I think.
I know, seriously.
I don't even know. Is it good luck? I just think that's.
I mean, seriously.
For him,
I don't. Yeah, for he lucked out. I don't know about about her, but he certainly is the one who's lucking out here, I would think.
And I have to say, and this is, I know this is the way of the world today. So it's always been this way with famous people. So there's really not much you can you can do about it. But I'm sure that the whole Ariana Grande thing is long done for both of them, and they've both moved on. I know, but I still always feel weird about when you start to see like a lot of publicity about one or of the other. Like what's his face. Is the one that's engaged to Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter, Katherine Schwarzenegger, who was married to the, like people say they move on, but it just seems like sometimes it's got to be hard, like we didn't talk about this. We meant to talk about this with Miranda Lambert. We never got to it the last episode, and her really,
that's right.
Her really quick, you had mentioned, you said, I want to mention that. And we just got busy with something else.
12 weeks.
Blake's been with Gwen Stefani now it's going on a couple of years, and I'm not, I don't think, and just like with Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez, I don't understand why everybody's in such a rush. Why can't people just? They're happy, they're together. Why does everybody want to rush to marriage or make sure constantly asking her every time Jennifer Lopez is on Ellen? They're joking around, putting all this pressure on him to when are you going to propose? When are you going to propose? Maybe they're just happy the way they are.
Well, 'cause they wanted to beat Liz Taylor's record. That's why. She's well on her way.
but that's but that but that was the other thing. But the whole Miranda Lambert thing, it just listen, I met Randy, and in July we were living together. By September, we were married the following July, but we were still at least together for a year, like 12 weeks.
And not only is it 12 weeks, it's the love of her life, which she said the exact same thing about Blake Shelton. Yeah, I want to ask people, how many times do you find the love of your life? Honestly,
at least once a week.
Well, in the 80s, it was at least once a night. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Really. At least every club. Well, there's one in every club, isn't there?
Exactly.
No, but aside from that, though, when you have a marriage or even a relationship, it doesn't even have to be marriage, because you really, when you have a relationship that would be the love that you would say to get married or live with or just be together, your whole heart is involved with somebody, and it ends probably badly. I don't get the feeling that she and Blake broke up nicely. You just didn't get that feeling. Of course, you can't go by the tabloids and all the bullshit that you see, because a lot of times these people just want to sell newspapers. So perfectly nice things could be twisted and turned. But assuming that it was probably not the most amiable situation. Okay, they weren't holding hands as they were leaving the court.
Right.
Wouldn't you? And I know they've been apart for a couple of years, obviously. Why would you rush to marriage? The guy's a cop, so I don't know. I guess he's got to give up being a cop to live where she lives, because he's in New York, right? Is he New York?
New York cop, yes.
And she's obviously not living. Does she live in Nashville? I think, right?
I think she does.
Or so obviously not in New York. She doesn't live in New York.
She doesn't live in
okay,
New York.
So she also is worth a gazillion dollars more than he's worth, obviously. So I'm sure there's got to be some kind of protection, or I would hope she'd have some kind of protection. But as much as you might know in your heart of hearts, tell me what the rush is.
There is no rush. That's the whole thing. And secondly, after you've been through, I don't know. I see these people that get married and divorced and married and divorced. It's like, after the first, even the second time for me, it's like, why would you want to do that all over again? It's a very, I ask a lot of people I know this question. As a matter of fact, I was just having lunch today with somebody who was going through, a separation, and she's, fairly young. And she's like, that is the furthest thing from my mind. She's like, I can't even look at, the dating situation right now. She's like, it's not really a bad divorce, but, as far as, getting married again, she's like, that's the furthest thing from my mind that I can ever even possibly think of right now. She said it would have to be somebody who is a completely life-changing and walked into my life.
Yeah, but even that, she might want to wait more than 12. She might wait a little bit more. Well, here's the thing. If it's, and this is really like that song, if it's meant to be, it'll be, but it's true. If the person's not necessarily going to go anywhere. I listen, I wish them.
If you want to be with me, you're not, it's not although, breaking news or fake news again this week, Ryan Seacrest and Shannon broke up, supposedly. My supposedly.
Yes, I know what your supposedly is with Ryan.
They broke up because she was very insistent on getting married, and he said he's not there yet. So they are no longer a couple. He didn't shed a tear on Ryan and Kelly, and Kelly and Ryan, and it doesn't look like he really cares. So, but there goes and lies the question again. Let's say that he really does love her. Now you ruin a relationship and you break up because he doesn't want to seal the deal and get married. What is your rush? You're a young, beautiful girl too. Maybe it's just not the time. Well, hang out. You're hanging out with Ryan Seacrest. You're living in the lap of luxury. Just relax. Why does everybody have to that's the first question. Do you have a boyfriend? Are you getting married? Are you having kids?
Right. Everybody rushes. Well, how long have they been together?
3 years.
Okay. So how old is Ryan Seacrest?
To tell you the God's honest truth, I really don't know.
Is he over 40? Is he 40?
He's over 40.
Okay. He's over 40 years old. I don't know how old. How old you said she was younger, right?
Yeah, she's younger than him. I know that.
But here's
I don't think real young, but
But here's the thing. If you're with somebody for 3 years at a certain age in your life, you either know that they're the forever person, even if you don't necessarily put a ring on it, so to speak. Like look, like Hoda Kotb, right, talks about her man Joel all the time,
Right.
and they're apparently not getting married, and she doesn't feel the need to be married. And she's also been married before. I'm assuming he was too, but I don't know that for a fact. But she's talked about she was divorced, and she was divorced for a while, so it wasn't like a brand new thing. I don't think that she's anti-marriage either, but she doesn't feel that they need to have that. They have a child that they've adopted together, so they're obviously now linked. But not everybody feels the need. But the thing about it is that after 3 years, you're not there yet. Like seriously, though, like what are you waiting for? Like you're either going to be with her or not be with her. And if marriage if marriage is important to her, and you she's your forever person, like, and after 3 years you still don't know. It doesn't take. What I want to say is it shouldn't take you 3 years to know if this is the one.
Right.
Kind of thing.
No, it definitely doesn't. But again, it comes. I mean, he's 44. I just found out.
Okay.
He's born on December 24th, 1974, and I think she's in her 20s. I want to say late 20s.
Okay. Well, she may. You know what? I hate to say this about this damn biological clock, but you know what? There is something to be said. Not every woman wants to wait until she's in her late 30s to have children. So I don't know if children play a role in this or not. I don't know what the hell he's waiting for. I know what your thoughts are about this, but he had a long-standing relationship with Julianne. Is it Huff? Is that how you say her name?
Yeah, that wasn't even that long either.
It wasn't? It was a few years easily, right?
Yeah, it's probably about the same as this, I would think.
I just think that 3 years is more than enough time. Depending on your age, like, okay, if you're 17 years old, 3 years is you're only 20. No, but if you as you start getting older, 3 years, it shouldn't take 3 years. To me, then they're not right, because when you look at George Clooney. To me, he's the perfect example of the bachelor that I think no one thought George Clooney would ever get married.
Right.
And he had a couple long-term girlfriends. And he meets, what's her face, and boom. Married and babies.
Yeah. Exactly.
So obviously if it's right, or if Cupid's arrow comes, right?
I guess so. I mean, everybody had their thing about him too.
He's gorgeous.
Yeah, and people were like, it was a pressure, wasn't a pressure, but they're obviously together and they have twins, right? They have twins.
Yeah,
babies. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's no way he's not in love with her.
Well, yeah. Well,
come on. You think not? You think that's a?
I don't know.
What do you think? You really don't think?
In love? I don't know. I'd have to know him to really tell you that, or to see the situation with the two of them.
I don't know. I just think by the way he's spoken about her over the course of time, and again, he's never had a problem breaking up with people before. So I think that he truly found the love of his life. And when you find I know that was cliche, the love of his life, but I think if the right person comes along, it can change everything for you.
I totally agree with that. But there's a lot of times in people's lives where the convenience of the love of their life comes along. The right person with the right job and the right status behind them. Who's going to make a perfect fit for you also to look good and travel the world with. There's a lot behind that story with him and her.
Okay. Some of the women that he dated, and I'm not saying, and this is not a slight on what anybody does for a living, but, I think some of them were certainly not world famous attorneys, human rights attorneys, international superstars, if you will, for right. Something. And the fact that they weren't Hollywood, the fact that she was. See, here's the thing, and maybe there is a certain business side to a relationship when you get to a certain point in your life at a certain age, and I don't have a problem with that actually, because there has to be compatibility when you're not a kid and you're not a teenager anymore. You're past certain things, and you have to be realistic about getting older, aging. What's there for you? You have to have more things in common than just like hot sex. You do. Yeah.
Exactly.
And,
well, of course. Yeah.
And so she is this very well respected individual. I do think that you're right, that some of it is a good fit. She's beautiful. She's stylish. She doesn't need his money. She didn't really need from him. And I like that. I liked it that even though it may have been he's also secure in that as well, because really he's an actor. Okay, he's a good-looking actor.
Exactly.
She's a highly educated woman. Human rights, like he's an actor. I'm sorry. And just because he gets in front of a microphone once in a while with some activism isn't quite the same thing as what she's done. So maybe, I think he lucked out.
Yeah, probably. He's the one he definitely got the better half of that.
Mm-hmm. And of course now he's got that tequila thing, but that just made him, the rich get richer.
Yes.
What can I say?
Speaking of celebrities, Jennifer Lopez is back in the news
Today.
Well, the past couple days, they're saying that it was a anniversary gift from Alex Rodriguez, that she loves Joanna Gaines, from that show.
Yes, I saw that.
And they're going to remodel her home in Malibu.
She's going to do it. She's actually going to do it, or she's going to help her do it over, because they don't usually leave Waco.
They don't what?
They don't leave Waco. Her and Chip. They don't do anything outside of Waco.
There's pictures of her on the beach in Malibu. Yeah, up the house. Yeah,
wow.
So they're gonna do it. Yep.
Randy and I have said we watch. First of all, the show itself, Fixer Upper, has been off the air in terms of they haven't made any new ones. They had stopped for a while, and of course, then they had the baby, and she put out a couple of books and stuff. But it's rerun constantly on HGTV. And so we've seen all of them at least half a dozen times. And we still sit there and we still watch them, even though we know everything that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't really watch those kind of shows, but I hear it's one of the better ones.
Well, the stuff that they do is amazing. We're like, okay, let's do this. Let's just nobody wants to really move to Waco, Texas, but I would buy sight unseen a property that was remodeled by Chip and Joanna. Yes, because they work wonder shit and that's really cool. Talk about pull, huh? Talk about pull.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, really.
No, but seriously, they have
Alex
never done
just
anything
summons them
outside.
up to Malibu, California, and they go.
That's so awesome.
Well, who wouldn't? I mean, let's face it, you
Listen,
get the phone call.
Hello, yes. If Jennifer Lopez called and said, girls, ladies, we need you. We need the shift chicks. You would fly. Trust me, you would fly.
I would fly.
You would fly for that.
It's like the I got a guy thing, I got a guy. Okay, well, let's go.
I got a guy.
Without a doubt.
So, there's so much in entertainment. There's so many things to talk about in politics and the world in general. But I want to stay in something that we've been talking about, because we're talking about these loves of lives and so on. So I know you started to watch some of it. I watched all of it with Randy. It's one season. It's called Dating Around.
Right.
And it's on Netflix. Now, let me test your memory. I'm going to say, not what you had for breakfast. I know you don't remember that.
No, I don't actually.
A couple of years ago, it was on Friday nights. Drew Barrymore narrated. I want to say, was it Ellen that produced it? It might have been. It was a dating show. Do you remember?
You know what? It sounds very familiar.
Something First Dates.
Well,
can you Google? We should
Google. The movie
Google.
comes to mind.
Well, 50, yeah, but it wasn't something. It was a show, and Drew Barrymore did the narration, and it followed couples who obviously agreed to be filmed in I think it was one particular restaurant actually, and it would they would have these dates, and it was very PG, obviously.
Yeah, here you go. It's called First Dates. You're right.
Was that what it was called? Just First Dates?
First Dates. It first aired on April 7th, 2017.
Okay, so it was about 2 years ago, and Drew Barrymore, was it Ellen too? Was she the producer? Did it say?
Yes, it said Ellen DeGeneres was the executive producer and Drew Barrymore narrated.
Okay.
Wow. It wasn't picked up for a second season.
I know. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I don't know why it wasn't picked up, because different nights on television. And again, Netflix, I wasn't as familiar with Netflix as I am now. So I was still watching a lot of broadcast. And Friday night is just kind of a crappy night for TV. So we loved it. We were so into it. It was ridiculous. Really? So this show, Dating...
It's similar? It's similar to the one on Netflix?
Well, Dating Around is different because, first of all, it's on Netflix. So you have no holds barred. So it's not PG. It's not X, but it's not PG. And the premise of the show are each person, and I'll go through real quickly like the type of people, but each person goes on 5 blind dates. And apparently, obviously the show has set this up. So we meet the person who is the subject, if you will, of the date, or the datee, the dater,
the dater.
And they are set up with 5 people. I don't know anything more. I tried to find some research on it. I didn't go too deep into it. I kind of want to find out more, like how did they find these people? How did they figure them out, and this kind of stuff. But I don't really know much about it. But they go to the same place on all 5 dates. They're wearing the same clothes on all 5 dates. And I know it's not the same night. That's what threw me. I'm like, is this one right after the other? But then I'm like, no, it can't be. I think what they do is they just want everything to be equal.
Right. Continuity is all the same or something.
Yet she looked like some of them looked exactly the same all the time. Like I'm thinking to myself, maybe they did do this all in the same night. I really don't know because some of them lasted a really long time. I was
going to say, some of them went until like early morning hours. Didn't one go really late?
Yeah.
I only watched 2 episodes, so you watched a lot more than I did. You watched them all, right?
Right. So there was a heterosexual man, a heterosexual woman, a gay man, a gay woman, and an older man. And there was another woman, and I think in her case, because she was of Indian descent, was there 6 of them? I guess there was 6 of them, huh? 6 people? That sounds right. Yeah, 6 people.
Yeah, I only saw
so she was also a heterosexual, and it was just it was so interesting to me because, again, being out of the dating scene, and I know that you are single, but this is not how you date. These are completely, when I say blind dates, though, I don't mean like, oh, Lisa, I have somebody that, and I can tell you a little bit about.
They just came around the corner and they were like, hi, Fran.
Hi, are you Bob? and literally that's it. And
I could never do that. I'd have a heart attack if the person was like, not my cup. I would like leave right then and there.
I'm going to assume again, because the show, so like even on like Match, or even on some of these apps, right? You even, I mean, some of them are bare bones, like you swipe or you have profile. They had nothing.
No, nothing to see, anything.
And I think that fascinates me. It fascinates me because when I was single and my girlfriend was single together, we were single together and we were roommates and we were dating. And we met people the old-fashioned way in bars and supermarkets and anywhere people were together and struck up a conversation. There was no internet at all. There was none of this crap. So it was really face-to-face stuff or fix-ups. And I loved dating. I loved that first date experience. And she despised it. She would get nervous and dread it. And I always looked at it like it was an adventure. I think that's my interviewer side.
It is an adventure.
It is an adventure. And I'm just fascinated by, and tell me because you did see the guy. His name is Luke, and he's a decent looking guy. People think he's a nice looking guy. Real estate guy in New York. So I know this all takes place in New York, by the way. So New York is also part of the backdrop, I think, because the city there's a lot of discussion.
Cool restaurants.
I know, yeah. Really. And the after hours place, that one place with the couches. But so New York, I think, makes it unique in the sense because if you when you watch the rest of it, you'll notice that a lot of the conversation talks about New York and the effect that dating in New York. It seems to be different for people. They think it's different.
It's a lot rougher in New York. It's a completely different scene. Even just going there, and seeing, and even when I was younger in the dating scene in New York, it's a completely different world in New York because people have so much going on, and things are just different. Even the walking around New York is different than dating somebody like here in Jersey or somewhere where you need the car. Even before Uber and everything came out, it was like people would just jump around New York. Oh, meet me down the Village, meet me uptown, meet me downtown, and people just do it. A lot of after work stuff, went on in the city
and late, and that's a big difference too. New Jersey bars close at certain times. You can literally find a 24-hour someplace to go in the city, and people are from so much more diversified. So you're meeting people from literally all over the world all the time. So yeah, I could see how it could really change things for people. But what really caught me immediately was the difference between when the man and I'm talking about the heterosexuals first, when it was Luke and let's say one of the girls was Sarah, when it was those two and they were the focus and the people were dating them. The conversations were very different from the women on the dates with the man to the men on the dates with the woman. Like when I'm going to call her Sarah. I think that's her name. She's the one with the real short hair. She's got the short hair. She wasn't. Gurky was
I saw the Indian one. Yeah.
Her name was, I think, Gurky or Gorky, something like that. Really cute name. She was a little bit older. She was like 36. I think Sarah was in her mid 20s, maybe early 20s. I actually forgot half of it already. I was so excited about, but I wasn't making notes to watch it. But I think our listeners would really enjoy it. But she's just like, I think, and a lot of it was her personality, and she just seemed to engage people and get them to talk, and the conversation seemed to just flow more. And she was very sure of herself, very confident in herself, very sure about who she is, and basically what makes her happy, what doesn't make her happy. And when one of her dates was just, just with these sexual innuendos that were so unnecessary. It wasn't like cute flirting. Like some of them were flirting and smiling. This guy he was just kind of like gross. He would just say stuff you could see the look on her face, and she was very sweet about it. And she's like, in the middle, I think, of eating even. And she's like, thank you very much. And she left. She just wasn't putting up with it. And I thought that was wonderful.
There's always a creep in the crowd.
Yeah, he had to be. Now, the reverse of that, and you saw this with Luke, right? And I'm sure you noticed the girl with the smacking of her lips. Remember? She was.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Oh, my God. That girl was insane.
She
had a screw loose.
She definitely, but she was like, okay, each one of those girls, except for the one that he chose, who wasn't the prettiest, by the way, but she did have a lot of personality. She was kind of goofy. She seemed like she was having a good time, and she was having fun. The other one, a couple of the others were like trying so hard to impress him and let him know who they were. I can't explain it. It was so weird to me. I was like, is this what dating is?
The one with the lips was like, she ordered everything for him. She took like total control over the whole situation. Yeah. And then she's like, you have to smack your lips while you're eating and chew with your mouth open. And I was like, is this girl for real?
She's like, my friends tell me I eat loudly. Would you ever say that to someone?
Right. And then she goes, I hope you like them thick because I like my food. And I was like, oh my God.
And I eat a lot and I eat everything. Like, I mean, here's the thing. And maybe that is really who she is. But I sometimes think you don't always have to state it. Like, just let the date just happen. Like, I think I feel like the women spent more time trying to impress him or make sure there was going to be a second date instead of just having fun. And the girl that he ultimately, so it's 5 first dates and 1 second date, if I guess they so chose, because not everybody had a second date. Luke did have a second date with the girl I picked. I had kind of pegged it. And then later I found out, I don't want to say anything else. So he did have a second date with this one girl. And then with the woman that we're talking about, the woman of Indian descent, there was a real culture conversation about her parents, and she had been divorced. She had had an arranged marriage. Like, they knew each other, but it was still kind of an arranged marriage.
Well, that's the one where the guy got in a bad argument with her, right? Because he was talking about that.
Oh my God, he got into like a vicious argument. He called her a liar, and he basically said, it really. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how it had turned, because didn't they go to like that was like a after hours, right? They had dinner. Mm-hmm. And then they went to after hours, and she was upset. And I was thinking to myself,
I think there was a lot of alcohol involved in that situation with him. But he couldn't handle his alcohol, that one.
Is it, again, okay? You get up at some point in time and you say, you know what? You're listening to what she has to say, right? And you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, this person is not for me, or there's something. And you know what you do? You finish the date like a gentleman, or you leave like the other girl did. She's, thank you. This isn't, have a nice evening. I'm done with this. You don't argue with this girl. I'm like, what an asshole. Horrible. This is like is a first, like, I found it to be very frightening, actually, that you could have such strong emotion, right,
with somebody you don't even know.
Exactly.
That's what's freaky about it.
Yeah, I didn't like that. And then
I can't believe you don't remember that guy that I liked. It wasn't that he was so good looking or anything with the Indian girl. Don't you remember, like, he was skipping at one point and dancing, and she's like, "Are you skipping?"
And he was tall, right? He was very tall.
Yeah, he had a purple shirt and navy.
Yeah, yes.
He was kind of a cool guy. I thought,
that's not who she picked.
I know. I didn't get him any right.
I got him. I got every single one right. And then there's an older gentleman, Leonard, who I fell in love with. I don't know how old he was. I don't remember if they said how old he was, but he had been married for I think it was 30 some odd years. His wife had passed away, and I guess he agreed to be on the show. And this is a whole new world for someone like him. But he was really kind of cool. He really was. And they paired him up with some real doozies. But, these are women also single, probably in their 60s, maybe even early 70s. I really don't know. And obviously still looking for love. And, I think what impressed me, honestly, about that particular group at that stage of their lives, they are not playing any games. They are who they are. Up. Their freak flags are flying.
Exactly.
And you know what? They don't. And honestly,
from nobody either.
That's who you should be anyway.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? That's exactly who you should be anyway. And then the other commentary I want to make, because I would really, really want our listeners to watch this, and I posted something, and we have email and we have our Facebook page, and we would love to hear. I would really want to hear about what they think about it.
Let us know what you think.
And you have to finish watching the rest of it. Check. You got to say it. Was the two gay relationships? Okay, so the guy, the stuff that they say, which I think is just, again, I am so not a prude, but I just think some of it is surprising and inappropriate for a first date, but not for gay men.
Now we're talking about
two gay men.
Now we're not talking about a man with a woman. We're talking about two of those things together, two men together. So the conversation is going to be brutal. We know that already.
Yeah, but
they both have the same mindset. So it's all out. It's probably like, what are we doing after this drink? Let's go do it right now.
Yeah,
that's men.
It was just a little raw. Some people might be uncomfortable with that. And then the lesbian couples, woman, and she was adorable. I really liked her. She was sweet. And she was honest, and she seemed kind of new at the dating thing. And of course, coming into New York, not everybody's a New York native. A lot of these people live in New York and have lived there for a long time, but aren't necessarily from there. So it fascinated me. I love it. I can't wait till season 2. All my shows, by the way, everything is on hiatus now. So Mrs. Maisel,
I know,
the Kaminsky Method, friends.
Okay, so I didn't know you were watching the Kaminsky Project.
Kaminsky Method.
Oh, wrong. It's Method?
Yeah, I think it's Method. Yeah, because he's a teacher.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Okay, so I started to watch it, and I was like, oh my God, this is like all about old people.
It's fabulous.
It's really like a male relationship, But now I think I'm up to 4 or 5, maybe more.
It's fabulous.
And the daughter is like cracks me up.
I absolutely love it. But it's only season 1. I think they're filming season 2 now.
Yeah, but he won an award for that, didn't he?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to think what else. We said that. Friends from College is not renewed, which really upset me because I really got into that. That was 2 seasons of that.
Yeah, I'm dying for you to come back. I can't wait for that.
That was so good.
I watched all of Russian Doll. I won't talk about it a lot because you didn't watch it yet, but it kind of left me hanging. So I hope they're going to come back for. I don't know if this is it. If she found what she was looking for in one season, right? It's one season. She does find, they do find something, but I don't know if they're going to take it to the next level.
Okay.
But it's she's really good. She's from Orange is the New Black.
Yep.
Natasha, I can't think of her last name right now, but she's very, very good in it. And so are the other cast of characters. But in the beginning, you find it a little bit annoying because she keeps dying over and over again.
I saw the previews for it.
Yeah, and it gets a little annoying, but then you realize, it gets deeper as time goes on, and then it gets deep, and then it ends, and you're like, "What?"
You're hanging.
You want more, So that's a problem with these limited things. I don't know if they're coming back or not because I want to know more.
I know. Well, that's why we friends from college. So it was 2 seasons. I didn't even realize it went so. I was so hooked on the episodes that I blew through 2 seasons without realizing I had crossed into another season. And then I had heard that it was coming back, and then they announced it wasn't coming back. And I can't believe that because they really left a cliffhanger. So you kind of assumed that they were coming. And then the other one I watched and I don't think you liked was Ozark. Like, I can't wait for that to come back.
Oh my God. I couldn't even get through the second one. It was dark and dismal. And
I loved every minute of it.
I love him. And he just playing that part. I couldn't watch him play the part because he's always so light and lovable, and it's like, I couldn't, Jason Bateman just wasn't him.
I know, but Laura Linney, she's so good in this. Like she's like, it's so unexpected. So, I have really become, I have to be honest and tell you, I have become a Netflix junkie. I really, that and that and Amazon Prime. I just, between the two of them, I really, oh my goodness. And then one other show that I would highly recommend to our listeners who don't care about any of this cable stuff or the Netflix or any of the subscription stuff is I'm hooked on Good Girls from NBC.
Yeah, I never saw it. Day of my life.
I think you would honestly really enjoy it.
Yeah, and getting back to the streaming, Black Panther is on Netflix, and I've been challenged and dared to watch it because it's not my kind of flick.
You'll like it. You will be surprised.
Well, what happened? I started watching it, and I really, really like Michael B. Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know that. Well, I mentioned to the people who challenged me or dared me to watch it that I turned it off. As soon as he became king. So that's what left. And they're all screaming, no, you have to finish watching it. You have to finish watching it. Because I really like him, and he seems to be a bad guy in it.
Yes, he is.
They're telling me, no, you have to watch it till the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like him playing that part. See, I'm very fussy like that. Like if I like an actor or an actress, and they're playing a role that I don't like them in, I thought he was when I first heard about Black Panther, I thought he was the head king guy.
Mm-hmm.
Simba guy, whatever you want to call him.
That's Lion King. Wrong king.
But it's kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of cool the way that I thought it was going to be all comic book fantasy, but they did it in New York and they went back and forth, and it's a little far fetched. I mean, for me,
well, it's Marvel. It's a Marvel comic show. Well, that's definitely a movie that translates very well to the big screen. Now, the rest of the movies, the Roma. I know you're not going to watch Roma. I did sit down and watch that, so I had seen that. That was on Netflix also.
Now, how do you do that? How do you watch a movie and watch the words at the same time? I could never do that. That would give me an anxiety.
I challenged my Spanish. I obviously am an epic fail on my Spanish. I had literally 4 years of Spanish. You would think I would know some of it, but it goes so fast. I don't know. After a while, it just becomes part of the movie. You don't even really pay attention to it. Okay, so Randy and I had started to watch it one night, and it was the same thing. You have to be in the mood to pay attention, like really pay attention to it. And I walked out of the room, which you can't do. Because you have to see the screen. You can't leave if you don't know what they're saying. And I lost interest, so we said, what the heck with it. We're not gonna watch it. And then one night when I was by myself, I was like, what? I really want to see this. This was before the Academy Awards, and everybody was saying, this is going to come out of nowhere. And I'm like, I got to see what this is about. And I don't really, with all of the talk at the Oscars about it and talking how deep it was and how beautiful it was and all those things. As I said, I think before, it's definitely got some emotion to it. It's definitely like a roller coaster of emotion at times. It really is. But I think I missed the boat on this one, and I definitely didn't like the ending. So, and the others are all the movies that were nominated and or won are up for rental on Amazon,
on TV, on TV too.
And on TV.
On demand. Yeah.
And as much as I'm cheap, so I'll wait a few more weeks and slowly but surely.
Except Greenbrook, which I want to say,
still is it still playing out there?
I don't know, but they won't put it on demand yet because it won the Academy Award. Obviously.
Yeah, so that's going to be the holdout. And I know they re-released A Star Is Born.
With some new scenes also, some new edits.
So I heard. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get back into our chick flicks mode for a little while. We kind of got out of that, but. I think now that all that stuff is out there, we'll just have to. I just played our jingle for everyone to hear.
You did.
Yes,
but
I did.
Get chicks movies or whatever. I got to tell you, I really, as much as I want to try and finish the movie like the Black Panther, I just can't get into all of that make believe stuff. I'm such a reality person, sex, drugs, rock and roll, drama, killings, whatever it may be. I can't watch, people get shot and live and, their suits are made of whatever they're made of. That's just not for me.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah. And like spaceships flying, out of Queens, New York into this land of make believe, it's just like crazy to me.
But let me ask you this question. With all the crap that's going on in this country right now, wouldn't you like to be able to just take a spaceship and go somewhere?
Well, I would go to Santorini right now. That's where I would go. Wouldn't even have to be out of the orbit.
There you go.
That's on my bucket list, big time.
Well, I think we should wrap up our entertainment segment, which is taking up an awful lot of our show today. Which is good though, because there's all these things people are doing out there.
Yeah.
With You and I were talking about this whole Michael Jackson leaving Neverland documentary that's on HBO. I don't have HBO, so I can't watch it.
Nor do I, and I would never get. I don't go for the pay channels like that. I think they're all over
Rip
and
off.
over and over. Yeah, they really are. Okay, you said it plain and simple. Rip offs. That's exactly what they are. I have a problem. I have a problem with this kind of storyline. First of all, he's dead. I mean, poor Michael Jackson's dead. He does have family and children living. I don't know. I don't know if this was the appropriate time to do this. I mean, what were we talking about before? What's the motivation behind this? I don't understand. Wasn't there money involved already? What are they after? To be on HBO? And I love what the Jackson family did. Both last night at the exact same time they aired, I believe it was a concert from Budapest. And I think tonight they're doing one from Wimbledon Stadium, so that everybody who is a fan of his will tune into that. And maybe some people who are on the fence will just tune into the concert, because apparently there were concerts that weren't seen or be able to be seen. So that was pretty tricky of them, and a good idea, actually.
Well, there's so much controversy, and I know that Oprah it was an Oprah conducted interview, I think, that caused a lot of because she gets involved, and I thought she was. I don't want to say that she takes sides. I mean, as a true interviewer, right? If she's really hosting these interviews, then she should be as objective as possible. But it seemed that the audience that was there or attending or watching the show seemed very much very understanding of the two gentlemen who brought this to light. And you listen to their history and you listen to their stories. And I'm just going to say this because I've been on the planet for a while, and I have decided that I am one of the worst judges of character on the planet. I would be the worst juror ever, because I believe in that. Like, I believe what people say. Like, I believe what people say when they say it. I don't know that it's the truth, but I believe that their conviction behind it, if it makes any sense. And when you hear people say certain things, and we can kind of simultaneously talk about Michael Cohen if you want also, because it's kind of the same thing. And you listen to a story, you listen to someone tell you something, and you listen to these people who these two guys, right? Their lives are, one of them especially, it seems his life is like shattered. Like, it's just hard to believe that someone could fabricate something like that, because it's not in my DNA, and I think that's the difference. Okay.
Well, you're not a sociopath.
Well, I have been called things, but I don't think I've ever been called that before.
That hasn't been on the list yet.
No, that's that one I haven't made the list, but there's still time. I'm still young. It could happen. But I mean, so it's hard for me, and I think that's really the truth. It's really hard for me to understand how somebody could lie so deeply like that, right? And ruin another human being's life, and all of the people associated with them, and the reputation, and have it be a fabricated story. Like, I mean, I know people write books. I mean, look at people who create worlds, of stories that never existed, and imaginary people and places and things. So it's not that it's people can't do it, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, isn't there a little bit of truth maybe in everything? Like, it's just hard.
I'm sure there's a little bit of truth in everything, However, I mean, just to make up story. What I find more perplexing is the people that are listening to it that believe. It's like, how could you absolutely sit in front of a TV and listen to Michael Cohen? First of all, they gave him the 30-minute opening speech like it was his audition, and then give him 15 minutes afterward to clarify everything that was said about him, and dig it in some more to Trump. But, to sit there in front of a TV and make an assumption that what he's saying is the Holy Grail gospel, it's disgusting. I mean, anybody can say anything in this world today that they want to say about you, and people just form their own opinions, whether or not they believe you.
Right.
And that's horrible. You and I can be in a room together with no witnesses there, and I can go out and tell the world that you said anything.
Right.
And 85% of the population will believe me. That's frightening.
Well, the people who are some, let's say, loyalty. Well, look at the whole Jussie Smollett thing especially when it first came out.
Sake.
The people who are loyal to him or believe in him immediately thought, right? And then the people who don't like him or suspected right away. So you're going to have you're always going to have people who are going to form an opinion based on their perspective of something and their perception of something.
Well,
right?
yeah, but that don't you think that's a little bit different? I mean, that was an incident that happened. So yeah, some people rush to judgment, but this is where somebody could come out of a room with you, out of behind closed doors with you, and you said red, pink, and yellow, and they said blue, black, and gray. That's scary.
Well, first of all, let me just say that I have a lot of problems with people who rat other people out in that sense. So
snitches end up in ditches.
Well, I was also watching, by the way, let me just tell you real quick. I was watching The Sopranos this week. So on, was it Netflix or Amazon? I think Amazon Prime now. Sopranos is an HBO product, but
right.
On Prime for free, they're releasing, like, season 2 is on now and it's free. So like if I wanted to watch season 1, it said basically I had to go subscribe to HBO, but for season 2, so I started now season 2 is like still new into the show. And it's like, it's you forget like how much stuff was really out there. But that just what made me just say snitches and ditches made me think of The Sopranos. But the point is that unless there's a purpose now, supposedly, so in order to redeem, my road to redemption, right, means that I have to tell the world everything that you have ever said or you've ever done. And I have a problem with that. If I'm redeeming myself, then all I should really be able to say or discuss are the things that I personally did that I am sorry for doing, not things that you said and I heard.
Exactly.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So that's where I have some of the problem with some of this. The biggest problem I have, and again, I understand that we are a country of free speech and people want to hear and they want to know, and we're tired of secrecy and behind closed doors, but I just don't see how this was productive for our country. I don't see how it brings us together any more than the Kavanaugh hearings did. I think we're just more divided. So now you've got the same BS.
It's disgusting behavior. It's disgusting behavior. That's all there is.
Yeah. So you've got the Republicans pretty much, defending the president, and you've got the Democrats, basically defending Cohen. So I mean, did you expect any different? Did anybody jump party line at that point and say, what?
I mean, seriously, the Democratic woman, I can't remember her name. Is this an important question? Is there really a love child? I mean, are you friggin' kidding me?
I know. And by the way, let me ask you a question.
Tell me about when he hit Melania in the elevator. I mean, he even admitted there was no such story. Trump would never put his hands. Right. I have to say that about him. He did defend him in that. He said he would never in his life. First of all, Melania probably kick his ass all over.
But that's not
the White House.
But here's the thing: if somebody said to you, "There is a tape of you doing something in an elevator," okay, and it's out there for sale. Well, first of all, of course I would try to buy it because first of all, I'd like to see what piece of shit is out there, knowing fully well. It doesn't mean that it's true. It just means I want to see who made something, who doctored something, who put something together, or what is it that you're putting out there saying that this is something I did. I don't have a problem with somebody trying to buy back something that is. So I don't have a problem with that. I didn't have a problem with some of the things that were said and other things. If they are true, they're disturbing. They are disturbing. There's no question about the behavior on all sides is just awful. It's disgraceful.
It really is. And like I said, with that question, I mean, the world is watching. Mm-hmm. And they're looking at America. They've been laughing at us for years now. Mm-hmm. Okay, but to be watching American TV, overseas or whatever, and hear this woman say, "Is there a love child?" With all that's going on, we have people sleeping in the streets. We have veterans with no legs who can't get any medical attention, and she wants to know if there's a love child. Who the hell cares if there is one or there isn't one anyway?
Seriously,
who cares?
At this
point,
what
does that have to do with the hearings anyway?
I know. I can't disagree with you. We have so many issues. I didn't appreciate some of the Congress people with their tongue lashings at him. You're a liar. Okay, we already know. He doesn't. He knows what he is, and regardless of what you call him or say to him, I'm rubber, you're glue kind of thing. What's the point? You wasted your allotted time, maybe to look good for your constituents at home. I'm not really sure what the point of that was.
Well, I think it's like any public defender or any lawyer would do is try to discredit the witness.
Yeah, but then you ask a question. You don't just sit there and tongue lash them. You're a piece of shit. I relinquish the rest of my time.
Exactly, or I yield my time to Fran now.
Yeah.
But the part about that is that you almost have to bring it up, because there were so many things. First of all the charges he's going to jail for have nothing to do with Trump.
Yeah, those are things for himself.
He
did that
it's
stuff.
like major fraud stuff. And the other thing, it's the first time in history. And Republican after Republican after Republican kept saying it, that here's a guy that's going to jail for lying to Congress, and he's the star witness for Congress.
Yeah.
So for the House committee. So it made no sense. Which it didn't. Okay, one of the reasons he's going to jail is for committing perjury in front of this House committee and lying to Congress, and this is their star witness.
But this time he's not committing perjury because he said so.
Yeah, because he said so.
Because he said so. And I would hope that listen. Honestly, you would hope that he isn't that freaking stupid, because he would be in a lot more. It would be in a lot more trouble.
Like the one congressman said, last time you put your hand in the Bible and you swore to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, what makes you think you're going to do it this time? Exactly.
Well, and unfortunately and sadly, just like any other human being in the public eye, and has nothing necessarily to do with politics. Like, think of some of the men that have been accused of the Me Too stuff. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Unfortunately, once you have a label like that attached to you, it's really, really hard to distance yourself from that label. So even if you actually are telling the truth, there are always going to be people who are going to remind you of the fact of what you've done in the past. So, the whole thing, really, like I said before, the whole thing for me was if you had the television on, it was on. I mean, everything was preempted. You really didn't have much of a choice unless you
were
like
on 9 brutal hours on every station.
It was, and then it was recapped, and then it was discussed, and then it was on Facebook, and then, that's the other thing. It's taken over social media. Like, there's just no escape from it. And
now they want to know 50 million other people. Did you see the one senator, Democrat? What's the name? What was spell that name again? And they're writing down all the names, and now every one of those people are going to be subpoenaed in to talk about this nonsense.
Yeah.
When what's going on in the world? We have so many things to worry about, but anything to get this man out of office, which they're never going to do, and anything just to try to disrupt what he's trying to do for this country. Whether you like him or hate him, I mean, like you said before, the numbers are up. What he's been doing is working. But it's so distracted from all this other stuff that nobody even knows about it or pays attention to it.
Well, then he opens his
those sign bites.
Right, but then he opens his mouth and he speaks and he does a 2-hour speech and he makes an ass out of himself in many ways and he just doesn't stay on point and stay on message and stay focused, and he looks like an idiot, and so he just keeps giving. He just gives fodder to it. He just keeps feeding it, and he shoots himself in the foot almost every time he opens his mouth. So
he does. But you know what the ironic part about it is that his base loves it.
Absolutely,
this base loves it. Every time he gets up there and does something like that, they love him even more.
Well, I'll tell you what. I personally, and I said this to you off air. I personally, at this point, I'm not sure. If this is gonna happen for like another 4 years, and all we're gonna do is hear, impeachment in the background, or we're gonna see one investigation after another, because if you're busy investigating the president, you are not working on the issues that are pertinent to the average Joe like us, health care and Social Security and, like you said, veterans and social programs that need to be fixed, and all these, every single state, I think, in the union is in a deficit in some way, shape, or form, and our infrastructure, and so many things are wrong that, if this is the way it's going to be for another 4 years, then I really think the Republicans ought to say, you know what, listen, please don't run again. Let us put another candidate up, just because I don't think the American people want to continue to listen to this crap all the time.
Yeah, because you get a woman like Nancy Pelosi, where you can't even go in the beautiful city of San Francisco anymore, because there's feces and pee and homeless people all over the streets. God help them, and they have to power wash the streets every day. why doesn't she do something about that instead of worrying about getting Trump out of office?
Yeah.
These are the things that I don't understand.
Wow.
I just can't figure it out. It's unbelievable.
I don't know. What do you think? Maybe we should listen. Everybody else in the world is signing up to be a candidate. Maybe we should throw our name in the ring.
Why not? Why not? The shift chicks.
Shift chicks for president. We'll just do it.
I'll take the vice president role. So I only have to go to funerals. You can do all the other stuff.
Oh, gee, gee, thanks a lot. Well, what I was going to say is we would just rule two. You get a 2 for 1.
Yeah,
two for one. All right. Well, listen, our time is just about up, my chick. But there's one thing that I would like to say, because you and I have always acknowledged and recognized that these natural disasters that occur, we thought we were out of the woods for a little while. The whole fire thing in California had calmed down for a while,
crazy.
And the devastation in Alabama is heart wrenching, gut wrenching. I really when I see people staring at their lives and what's left of everything that they've ever owned is a small pile of bricks, or it breaks my heart. And even though possessions can be replaced, honestly, not everything can be replaced. There are still people who have photographs they're never going to have again, or some special mementos here in their furniture. Yeah, all that stuff doesn't mean anything, but lives have been lost. And so, we're back to that. If there's anything people can do, they need to go out there and do it. They really do.
Absolutely. And on a lighter note, I have to go out and do a lot of stuff tonight because this begins my 40 days of atonement for myself. So Lent begins tomorrow. So tonight's Fat Tuesday. So I literally have to go out there
and make shift happen.
Thanks for listening, shifters. Join us next time as we spotlight the latest in exclusive restaurants, shopping, fashion, nightlife, entertainment, and the people who make shift happen.